Laura in Maple Valley, Washington. You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Good morning, gentlemen. Congressman, I noticed that you mentioned there's a lot of Republicans who lost the election who are not showing up. I'm afraid mine might be one of those. Representative Dave Reichert from out here in Washington. I can't get a hold of him. His office numbers are closed. It's very frustrating because I would like to comment on some of these things going on in the House right now. Specifically, the appropriations bill, has that been completed? And can't we dismantle the huge increase to the military budget that was put through last year?
So two things. First of all, on the second part, the appropriations is what we were talking about with the government shutdown. I think ultimately it's a few, I think there's 7 of the agencies that are left or something like that we're trying to wrap up. Republicans are still going to be in control of this budget process, even though we have a good number of Democrats. So I don't think you're going to be able to see some big sweeping changes, but what we don't want to see is funding for the wall. We've been very, very clear on that. So my guess is we're going to come out of this with something that looks more like a continuing resolution that continues things the way they currently fund in a very big way. So I think that's what's going to happen. So the first part, just so you know, one of the tough parts, and it is true for someone who loses Congress, almost immediately you're kicked out of your office, and you're in a group office, and you don't really have a place for you and all your staff because they have to start bringing and getting members offices ready for the incoming members. A little different than the Senate, where you can stay there for months after, and they slowly bring folks in the House almost immediately. So if you don't get a hold of your member via phone, still use the email. Someone will be able to get that. It just might be harder via phone to get a hold of someone for a very fair reason, that the official structure moves people around a lot, and I just want you to know how to still be effective in reaching out to them via email.
What about the local offices? I asked because I was going to, as a call for action the next hour, I was going to go off on a rant about Bob Goodlatte, the Republican from Virginia. He lost, and he is blocking this bill called Savanna's Act that would require the Department of Justice to train law enforcement agencies to record tribal enrollment information in crime information databases, because Native American women are being murdered at 10 times the national average. This is a national crisis, and it passed the Senate, I believe, very easily. It sailed through the Senate. And the one guy in the U.S. House of Representatives who will be until the end of the year the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Bob Goodlatte, is blocking this. Is he I don't know if he's a bigot or is somebody's paying him off or what the deal is, but I mean, should people call his local offices? Are those open, or I mean, how do you protest? You know, the Congress is going to be in session this week. You know what?
Yeah. See, well, so we're not even calendared, right? I mean, this is because of the incompetence of the Republicans, why we've had to extend even to this point to try to finish our work that should have been done a week ago Friday. You can try local offices, and you probably are going to have a little bit better, but just so you know, also around this time of year, a lot of offices start shutting down because we do get diminished contacts and people are taking vacations. And so, you know, email is still probably, there is a live person somewhere that will get an email. So, you know, that may be your best bet. If you try the phone call and you're not getting through, try an email. It definitely will get through.
But in most cases, that only works if you live in the district.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try to get a real quick one in here. Aaron in Henderson, Nevada. Yeah, we just have 50 seconds to the break. You had a real quick question for Congressman Pocan? Apparently, Aaron doesn't. Congressman, we're down to 40 seconds. I just can't put somebody on the air with that little time.
Yeah, no worries.
What are your thoughts on what Goodlatte is doing, or on the on Savanna's Act? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, a little bit, and you know, it's through his committee. He's a chair. What's interesting is I kind of referenced earlier, Tom. I've had 2 calls in the last week from people saying something is being held up by a Democrat on a committee, which we're not in charge right now. So this is Paul Ryan not being able to corral his members to pass legislation, or a Republican chair not liking it and not wanting to move it forward, and they're trying to blame the other party. So I've had to deal with that on a couple fronts. They have a small calendar for the week besides what we have to get done, but it's really due to Paul Ryan not knowing how to be Speaker.
That's amazing, after all these years.